Hey everyone, how's it going? The mid-season update for Season 1 of Cold War is finally here, and in today's video, I'm going to break down what was added into the Zombies mode, as well as the newly released info on the now confirmed DLC 1 map, Firebase Z. So stick around because we're covering all of that right now. So if you were hoping for the mid-season update to add tons of replay value into the game, then you're probably going to be disappointed. The only content added into the Zombies mode with the mid-season update is that Raid is now a Onslaught map, and the new Cranked game mode was added as well. Cranked is a pretty fun game mode overall, but it doesn't have the replay value to bridge the gap between the mid-season update and the next DLC map. That being said, it does add a lot of variety into the game mode, and that's where it really has value. These standard survival modes are typically longer games. Getting past round 30 can take an hour at least, with all the setup between rounds, the first few rounds being pretty slow, and things like that. Cranked is far faster. The games are almost always around 15 minutes, which is a huge time save. The pacing is also far faster. There's almost no downtime, which can make the whole experience far less tedious than a standard game. Having the option between a slow, laid-back game and an aggressively breakneck game adds a lot of variety into the game mode. It's a recurring theme that the side modes in Zombies always feels somewhat gimmicky. There's a couple of exceptions, but most side modes don't seem to have a whole lot of replay value, and Cranked seems to be one of these exceptions. It's not the gimmick that a game mode like Turned or Jingle Hells are. I like that it's in the game now, but I don't think I'll be playing it very much in the future. I like my Zombies mode to be a little more laid back and casual most of the time, and the breakneck pace of Cranked is just a little much for me. It's fun, but not a mode I'd play often. And the only other content they added into the Zombies mode was adding the Raid remake into Onslaught. Now, I've already made my thoughts on Onslaught known in another video that I'll link to in the description. But in short, Onslaught is a bad mode, and adding a new map doesn't fix any of its problems. If you're one of the 6 people that likes Onslaught, then you might find this exciting. Otherwise, it's really not even worth mentioning. What is worth mentioning is the news that has completely swallowed the mid-season update, and that is the first look at the first DLC map, Firebase Z. In a blog post, Treyarch gave us a ton of information about Firebase Z, as well as some other stuff that's all going to be arriving with Firebase Z on February 4th. For those wondering, that's 83 days after the game's initial launch. That sounds like a long time, but I did the math and it's largely in line with previous games. But going back to the blog post, there was a ton of information about what the premise and the storyline of the map is going to be, and I won't be talking about that here since I don't want to spoil anything in case you want to go into the map blind. But there's a link down in the description for anyone who wants to read through it in detail. I will say that my thoughts on the premise are overall very positive. At this point, it just comes down to execution, and we have to wait for either a trailer or the map's launch for that. But as I said before, there's more coming to the game on February 4th than just Firebase Z. We finally got some concrete info on when the Tombstone perk will be added back into Cold War. It's launching with Firebase Z and will retroactively be added into D Machine. They changed up the function of the Tombstone perk as well. Based on the description given in Treyarch's blog post, it seems more like a blend of Who's Who and Tombstone than the actual original Tombstone perk. The changes are actually going to make Who's Who and Tombstone useful perks. It'll be the first time that Who's Who in particular won't be detrimental to the player. And I've got to be honest, I'm pretty excited about it. It looks like a genuinely helpful perk. But that isn't all we're going to be getting on February 4th. The artillery and napalm score streaks from multiplayer are now going to be added into Zombies. These have been in the game's multiplayer since launch, and just like the cruise missile from earlier in Season 1, they're finally going to be added into the Zombies mode. I have no idea if they're going to be good or not in this mode, so we'll just have to wait and see. And that was really it for the mid-season update and all the info added. There's only a couple other things they did. The Wakizashi sword, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, was added into Zombies, so if you want to get that, you can go and get that now. There's also a free-to-play week for Zombies coming up soon, so if you haven't bought the game yet, now is a good time to go and give it a try. I don't know why you'd be watching this video if you didn't own the game, but hey, you do you. Overall, the mid-season update wasn't a massive update for the Zombies mode, which is probably why all the discussion happening today is around Firebase Z instead of the update. Just like what I said at the beginning of the game's life cycle, I'm really enjoying the game, I just want more of that game, and we didn't really get that with the mid-season update. But that's going to be it for me today. Let me know your thoughts on the update in the comments below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.